Hey, it's Jase. Firstly, I'm back in Dubai and I'm back on IGTV with some training videos, and now I'm going to be moving on to YouTube. So, you know, back in Dubai, I thought, you know, who's better to get a session with someone who's very strong and someone who's motivating me in a lot of areas at the minute, which is Mackay. So, you know, I'll put my vest on soon as well. So we're pretty much just going to cover training. We're running very similar training principles. I've got a good friend, Joe Cross, sort of doing my programming, which has sort of led me to finding my love for training again. Because, you know, I do like moving heavy weight, but also like to accumulate a lot of volume at the same time. So it's great. So really looking forward to this session, and we'll keep you updated. Then we're going to cover some various aspects in life, you know, sort of covering business, how to manage business and prep, you know, and how to stay on top of things. Because like we said, a lot of people think you can either just prep or do business. So it's sort of giving some tips and insights to, you know, having a great physique and building a great business. So, but firstly, we're going to go and smash some chest, playing in the best gym in the world, which is Binous, and we're going to hit up with some awesome prime kit. So we're getting into the first movement, which is the prime incline press. It's an area which I want to develop, which is, you know, that sort of buff popping top chest. So we're just warming up now, getting ready for that top set. So mentally locking into the working set where we're going to put absolutely everything and make this set count, especially because we want to recruit that tissue for the top chest. So probably one more warm-up set and then we're going to go to work. This is top set, he's locking in. You're going to pretty much see him take this pretty much to failure. And this is how your set should look when you take it to failure. Yeah. 2. Yeah. 3. 4. Breathe at the top. 2. 5. Come on, 6, 7, 6 and 7. Up. There we go. Reset. Let's go. Up. Yeah. Control.
6.5. 6 3/4. This is where Jase plays a very smart game. Right. He lets me go first, and now he knows what to beat. And notice how he's wearing a t-shirt as well. So what's going to happen is, I feel great at the minute, but Jase gets a pump, and then he puts his vest on, and it ruins the rest of the session for me. Here we go. Finish.
Don't let Cam wind you up. So we're going to do a rest pause set. It's pretty much take the set to failure, take the set to maximum capacity which your body allows, have a little reset, 10 seconds or 10 deep breaths, and then take it again to true failure. Up. One now. One with you. One with me. One with me. Drive. Up. 10 deep breaths, 10 deep breaths. This is how you take the set to failure in the rest pause. You don't save 2 or 3 in the tank. You leave that first portion of the movement absolutely fucking exhausted. Come on. Come on.
Back in well quick. I was like, whoa.
My breaths were like, after that first rep I was like,
have you ever seen someone breathe 10 times that fast? That's because we were videoing for his Instagram and he needed to get it within a minute.
So top set now, getting into the flat prime press. Cam is the brains behind why we load it, where we load it. Cam will tell you that.
Work.
I just move the weight with good form.
Yeah.
No, but this is a hard movement for me. I'm typically stronger at incline pressing. I don't know whether that's my front delt take a bit of load because I haven't got the best upper chest. So it's something I'm working on, but this movement's nice and smooth. You know, anything with prime's awesome. I used to be massively on dumbbells, but I feel a much greater connection from the prime kit. A lot of people say, machines, but we're in an evolution where the machines now are so fucking awesome. You can actually get a better connection, better range of motion. So, you know, top set time. Come on. More. One by yourself, then I'm coming in. Up, good. One more by yourself, then I'm coming in. One more. Yeah, come on. Up. Lock. Control, 1, 2, control. So we always preach, you know, at the end of that set, try and recruit as much muscle fibers as you can. Always end that set with a negative 1, 2, 3. Many people just let the weight go. You know, we're trying to recruit as much muscle fibers into the set as we can, because ultimately in these sets with maximum capacity, we're trying to build as much muscle tissue as we can as well.
Go. Finish. Come on. Yes. One more to me.
So, everyone thinks we're in a different gym, but Binous is so big it's actually split into 3 parts. So we're in the original part 1, there's part 2 and there's part 3, and maybe even part 4. But you know, I personally think this is the best chest fly. You know, it exposes your chest when you're in the stretch position, and you know, when you get to the strength point at the end of the rep, it absolutely overloads your chest. So you'll see me or Cam do our set here. I think the free motion pec fly is the best pec machine. It's one of the machines, it's a humbler because you can't load it crazy heavily, and I believe that's why a lot of people stay away from the hard movements, is because they can't feed their ego and they can't load it heavily either. Come on, one more, match me. Drive, one more.
There, I'm gonna beat him.
Come on, bring it in. One more. And I'm going to come in.
That's not bad. Still beat him.
Still got a quarter more.
Come on now. Let's go. Get short.
Drop.
Yeah, a couple of pins and then just take the failure. Come on. There you go.
Yep. Work getting this session.
2 sets, 10 to 15. The drop set and then the biceps.
Work set here or 15, 12, 15? No, everyone has their own principles. I've tried many. I've tried 8 exercises for chest, 9 exercises, 10 exercises, but today, you know, how I'm training at the minute, 4 exercises for chest, I'm absolutely fried, you know, so I know less is more, especially where I am sort of with my physique at the minute and, you know, my training priorities and how much food I'm taking, because my food's not that high at the minute, just due to me not pushing it, using festive period, but, you know, seeing, you know, my strength still rise here. I know once I put food in, I should be the strongest I've ever been in 2022. Considering there's no competitive goal, so obviously my anabolic usage is going to be lower, so that's the fighting goal for me, get the strongest on the least anabolics, which is exciting, and see how much food I can utilise.
See how much food we can get, Jase. Another point on that as well, like Jase was saying, 4 exercises is enough for us. What you've got to remember is we've done 2 all-out work sets plus an intensity method, which is adding to that volume on every single exercise. So you may think, oh, 4 exercises is nothing, but with the intensity we've taken it to, the amount of failure points we've hit, including rest pauses, including drop sets, it's a lot of work. So, you know, don't take the fact that we've only done 4 exercises as like it's half a session. It's not.
Just Cam moving their massive arms around to workout in itself. 1 minute, come on, bring it, one more. Yes! That's insane. Sometimes you get into a sort of run with training when you're in the groove. You know, you don't have to always increase that next set or decrease that next set. You know, if that set's gone smoothly, take it again, try refine it, because it will be harder, because there will be some muscular fatigue. So don't feel like, oh, do you know, I have to decrease the weight, I have to increase the weight. Sometimes just repeat sets. That is chest and biceps wrapped up. You know, absolutely trashed, as I said today, 7 exercises, 2 working sets, so 14 sets of the workout. You know, only 4 chest exercises. A lot of people but you know, feels amazing, feels great. Numbers are up across the board. That's the main thing. Gonna sit down, have an informal chat with Cam. You know, how we manage training and, you know, sort of running a very busy coaching business and, you know, not allowing standards to sit there, not allowing your own personal standards to sit there, just an informal chat. A great session, you'll see it, it'll be out. You know, any questions, just drop us a message.
So, as we said, we are going to kind of touch on a couple of tips and a couple of, I guess, common questions we get asked from not even just clients, like people genuinely will reach out and ask for some advice on how to still achieve their fitness goals, like around what it is they've got to deal with in day-to-day life. And like that can literally be anything. Like, we are extremely busy with coaching, but people are extremely busy with day jobs, with families, with relationships, and it's understandable. You know, no one has to give all of that up to achieve their physique goals. It's a case of maybe doing things in moderation, understanding that, but also just planning ahead. Like if you go into a week or a day blind, there's a good chance that things aren't going to go your way.
Yeah, and it's also comes down to time management. You know, this
100%.
week I can't train 7 days. You know, because I need to put 3 hours to work, but I can train 4 days. So it comes down to just being granular and breaking down your day, breaking down your priorities. You know, but you can still make things fit to the throwing the towel and being like, I haven't got time. You just make a bit of time in order to train, in order to prioritize work, business, relationships, whatever it may be.
Yeah. So for example, like with me, I like to have quite a clear plan to the day, so I know when I'm doing, like, the bulk of my work is check-ins with my clients. I know when I'm doing my check-ins, I know roughly what time my meals are. I'm in a very lucky situation where I can prep my meals fresh. However, if I couldn't, I would make time to prep my meals for however many days I needed them for. I know what time I'm going to train. I know what days I can make time for training. I know what time I do my cardio. Like, it sounds over the top and it sounds overly regimented, but realistically it's very easy. Like if you, in your day job, you have a schedule, you have scheduled breaks, you have scheduled times that you have to be on calls or doing certain things with work, and you're just doing that but within your day-to-day life.
And you know, like, I'm assuming Cam does his check-ins in the morning because he's very wise, so that's where he's most productive. And that comes to regiment your day, because a lot of people say, yeah, I've got a diet to write or a spreadsheet to do for work. And if you don't know where you're productive, you know, and you're like, I can't do work after I train because I just want to sleep. So it's about breaking down that day and saying, you know, I need to do work in the morning because I know when I train, after I train, nothing's going to get done. So it's also breaking down your day to see where you're most efficient, you know, and so you can run things efficiently to allow yourself to progress. It's again, you know, I prefer training in the morning, but some people can't because they know their sessions are more efficient after 4 meals, after 5 meals, etc.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things as well, Jase will probably agree with me on this, because it's something as coaches we see happen a lot, and it's probably a position that you've been in yourself. I've definitely been there. Is be realistic with what you can actually handle. Yeah. You can be very motivated by the thought of a goal and a physique goal to the point where you like, I will train 7 days a week. I will eat in a stupid deficit and do an hour of cardio a day, only to realise that 4 days in, it's the worst decision you've ever made. And I think if you're just realistic from the get-go with, right, I will train 4 days a week, I will do 4 sessions of cardio a week, I will, you know, maybe I can't follow a meal plan because I'm out and about a lot, so I will track macros. Yeah, and sort of a lot more realistic with your actual approach to it. It will last a lot longer. And
you know, you're still achieving that goal, but the goalpost is moved. That diet might take 12 weeks, just might take 18 weeks. So you just need to be realistic from the off, rather than not being realistic, getting 6 weeks in and saying, fuck me, I can't do it. Yeah. You know, we've both been there with trial and error. This is why we're having this chat. Cam's been there, I've been there. We've both experienced it. So we're trying to share that experience with clients, friends, whoever who's following this, and being like, just be realistic, set yourself, I'd normally say a longer time scale, 2 to 3 weeks longer, yeah, just in case there's any hurdles, because nothing's smooth sailing. You can't premeditate what might come up.
Yeah, I think the beauty of this kind of thing is as well is that if you were to get a couple of weeks into following your very realistic approach and you think, I can handle another cardio session, there's no reason why I can't go in.
Yeah.
The goalposts, like Jay said, they can change. Your parameters of what you can do can change. A lot of people get a couple of weeks off over Christmas. You know, it's your choice with what you do with that time, for example. So I think people are far too narrow-minded with the thought process of that whatever's set from the start has to stay. Yeah. You know, it can change, and as well, they're narrow-minded or blinded by motivation a lot of the time, and they don't take into account adherence and sustainability. And you know, what is adherable and what is sustainable long-term will provide more motivation over that long period of time.
I think adherence also comes from enjoyment. You know, if you're snowboarding, if you're snowing yourself in with lots of work, and you know, a cardio schedule you can't function with. Like anyone that signs up, I say, how many days a week can you train? Because you know, you adhere to what you enjoy, and with enjoyment comes better results personally.
Exactly. There's nothing worse than doing stuff you hate.
You don't like.
Yeah, you know? No one would choose to do something they dislike. Things you do that you dislike, you are either doing
half-assed.
Yeah, half-assed, or you're doing because you're being forced to. Yeah. Let's be realistic. So you can make this process a lot more enjoyable. Not only will it, like you say, lead to adherence and stuff like that, but to know that you've reached your physique goal enjoying the process is going to be a fuck ton more satisfying than thinking, thank God that's over. Do you know what I mean? Because then what really was the point? So enjoyment, yeah, 100%, and just being a little bit more realistic with it, I think is a big one when it comes to just, like we said, we're busy guys, and I'm not, you know, we're blessed in the position that we're in, being able to train when we want, being able to eat when we want.
You know, a lot of guys starting out, I have to train 7 days a week because, you know, I am my brand. You know, I have to work 7 days a week. You know, you just need to factor things so that the adherence is great towards them.
Yeah, and then what? Because obviously we run our own businesses, but this is not saying that this won't correlate to people who have 9 to 5 jobs. Correlate to people who,
anyone, any endeavour, really.
Any career. It doesn't really matter. The same principle applies. Plan your time, be realistic, and timescales. If you can stretch your timescale a little bit longer, it means you've got more time to be realistic with your method. But as well, wouldn't it be bittersweet if you set yourself a long timescale, but you eventually reach your physique goal a little bit sooner? There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, you know,
you're not setting yourself up for disappointment, setting a shorter, time scale. So, just wanted to cover that really, because it is something we both get asked quite frequently. So, you know,
especially with Christmas coming up, it's quite everyone's panicking about the fact that they've
got to get my 7 sessions in before Christmas.
And it's like, it's Christmas. Relax. Like, unless you're on prep or something similar, it is a time to, like, you eat 5 meals a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
Do you know, it's about giving back to the people that have supported your goals all year. You know, this sport is called selfish, but it doesn't have to be.
No, absolutely. So yeah, we thought we'd just cover that because that's something that I think was on my mind anyway, that I wanted to.
There's a lot of, you know, as coaching is, you know, people say it's oversaturated, which doesn't matter, but as it's becoming that, if we can, you know, put out a bit of advice that's going to help someone, this is it. So yeah,
definitely.